Action! There seems to be no signs of intelligent life on this particular
Well, let's go back to our planet.
Go back, because I forgot to pee.
Hi, my name is Richard and I'm with Empire Movie Memorabilia, and we're here at GATECON 2022, and I'm here to show you my collection. So these here are 3 mudmen from the episode First Commandment, and there are actually only 7 made, and we have 6 in our collection. One of the gentlemen who had these, he said he wanted to keep one for himself, and this has actually been the fan favorite for everybody coming in here. The detail in these things are absolutely amazing. I mean, we got the armbands, and we got the cloth, loincloths here. And we, and any of the props that we have that actually have the name tags, we actually keep them on there so we know who did it, and any information we can, because the more information we have for the fans, the better. So these ladies here are from the first episode of Stargate, Children of the Gods, the pilot episode, and it was the Gaul courtyard where these were, and it was kind of like a Roman scene. And some of the detail in here is like, I mean, it's got the gold braiding in here and the jewels. I mean, it's just fabulous, the costume designers who did the costumes for the show. Now these 3, there's a scene where Scar gets picked in the pilot episode. These are all from the pilot episode, and these are from when Scar gets picked to be a Goa'uld. And this gentleman here, this is the actual outfit that he says points at Scar and picks him. So this is the actual outfit, and these were 2 that were flanking in that scene. And one of the cool things is Peter Williams was here, and the scene that he was in, he's standing with these actual outfits. And when he was here at GATECON, we actually have him standing here with the picture with the actual outfits. So it was pretty cool 25 years later to actually have him with the same costumes, and he was pretty excited to see that. So these 3 here are different aliens from the episode. This gentleman here is from Spirits. Now, it's the actual face mask that is from the episode. My wife, she's an amazing seamstress, and she actually made a reproduction costume so we could show the outfit. And then we did the eyes and the face and the hair to make it as authentic as possible. And this gentleman here, everybody knows this gentleman. This is a actual screen-used Jaffa armor from the show. And when we actually got it, this is one of the outfits that was when they were doing, like, they were falling down and getting shot, so it was actually pretty damaged when we got it. We actually restored it to the original look when it was made. This gentleman here is from the episode Enigma, and at the very beginning, when you see them come through the gate and there's the volcano going and you see them actually lying in all the ash, this is the padded armor that was in that. It was just at the beginning, it was hard to see, because the rest of the show, they didn't have the padded armor. And we actually got one of the one of the control arm devices that lights up from the from that episode as well. This gentleman here is one of our prize collections. There is the Stargate Origins, the mini-series, and this is the actual screen-used raw mask and collar from the episode. We talked to Brian Capri, made this, and he made the horse, which we're going to see. And I asked him about the rest of the outfit, and he said that after they finished filming, they lost it. They don't know where the rest of the outfit is. So my wife made a reproduction, and all the jewelry on the outfit is actually from the first movie. And one of the cool things is we had the jewelry, kind of looking at how can we put it on there. So we put it all on there, and it came out really good. And we were actually watching the show again, Stargate, the original movie, and we noticed that the emblems on his shoulders, the scarabs, are actually, you see Jay Davison actually have them on the original outfit. So that was kind of cool that the original jewelry from the original outfit is actually on this now. This is another prize piece in our collection. This is the actual screen-used Horus head and collar from Stargate Origins. And again, it's a shame the rest of the costume was lost after production. So my wife, again, she made a reproduction of the costume, and one of the cool things is, again, we try to add stuff to the costume, like authentic pieces. So both armbands are actually from the original movie. And this here is really, like, I call it the crown jewel of our collection. My favorite movie of all time is Stargate 1994. And these are all used in the original movie. And some of these I got some really cool stories too. The Anubis head actually belonged to the original prop painter of all the armor in the movie. That actually belonged to him in his collection. And when they shut down the movie and closed everything down, they actually gave that to him as to say thank you for the beautiful work that you did. And that was in his collection for about 7 or 8 years. He decided to give it away to a friend of his named John Allred. Now, John Allred is a world-famous model maker. He's done competitions all over the world. He's won them. He's judged them as well. So the gentleman from who did the stuff from the movie gave it to John because he knew John would appreciate it. John had it in his collection for about 8-9 years, and then John decided to downsize. So John decided to sell it. I heard about it, and I got hold of John, and I said, I would like to purchase this from you, and I made him an offer. In the meantime, what happened was several other people came in and offered double the amount of money that I had offered. And it was like, oh, great, I'm not going to get that. Well, about a week later, John gives me a call, and he says, if you want to still pay for the item that with the offer that you did, I'll take it. And I said, well, how? I don't understand. People offer you twice the money. He said, it's not about the money. He said, the gentleman who initially had this from the movie, he enjoyed it because he loved the movie and he loved having this in his collection. Same thing with me, and the other people I know are going to sell it, and like flip it, make some money on it. I know you are going to have it in your collection and you're going to show people. So he said, I want it for someone who actually is going to enjoy it. So that has a special place for us. This is one of the production used raw masks from the movie. So again, it's a classic showpiece. So I love having it in my collection. I never thought in a million years that we'd actually have that in our collection. And then this piece here is kind of the jewel. When I started collecting movie props about 25 years ago, and I initially collected some autographed pictures and a few small pieces, but this was the first big piece that I had, and it came up in an auction, and I thought I have to have it. I bid on it, I won it, and that started me on my collection. What happened was I got another Stargate piece, another Stargate piece, and the next thing you know, I have this big collection. So that has a very special place in my heart. One really cool thing is Eric Avari was here at GATECON, and we had he was here for about 45 minutes talking to us, and it was amazing because he's actually one of my favorite actors of all time. Stargate's my favorite movie. He was in that, and he says a line in there. He says Bunny Way when he's talking about the chocolate bar, and I wait for that every single time, and I absolutely love that. And this is the actual photo continuity book for all the costumes from the original movie, and it's got the different actors in there with the original photographs from Polaroids from the show. And one thing is we have it right here. Is Eric saw this, so he hadn't seen this in 25 years, and then he actually signed it, and we have a picture of him signing it to us. So that was a really amazing part that he was able to do that for us. So this here is a production-made Raw hand. Now, at the end of the movie, you see Raw in his true alien form, because in the movie he took on the form of a human, and at the end of the movie, where they blow it up and you see him. His face, you see the original character is alien, and this was the hand. And there's a part where his hand comes out and is holding the coffin that he was in. So this is a production-made hand that they had. From my understanding, in the original movie, they're going to show a lot more of the alien, but they decided not to. They wanted more of the human form. But that's the hand, one of the hands. So this part of the collection is from the TV series, and we have just a little bit of everything, and like anything I can get my hands on, I get. And the bigger the piece, and again, any information that we can get on the pieces, we try to add it to the photos. So these here are bone helmets, hats from an episode. This here is really cool. I actually live in Kelowna, and on the TV show they have a city called Kelowna, and so I had to get those. And there's a picture of the scene here, and you actually see the water pitchers and cups on the table there. So that's kind of a special thing for me. This here is actually one of Apophis's belts, gold belts. Peter Williams was here, and he actually we have a picture of him holding that in front of the gate. And later on today, he said he's coming by and he's actually going to sign it for us. So that's really special. And this is a special gift for me. These are prototype armbands, so they actually weren't used in we can't find them in any other episode, and we were told that they were prototype armbands. And my wife surprised me with those for a birthday present. And she got hold of Steffi. He owns Stargate Prop Shop, and he's got a lot of props from the movie, and he had those. And I wanted to get those, and I got hold of Steffi and said I'd like to buy them. And he said, I'm sorry, I've sold them. And I was like, oh. I felt so bad. And it was my wife who bought them for me, and she surprised me. And I was almost in tears when I opened them up because I thought they were beautiful pieces in the art. I mean, the detail in here, all the hieroglyphics, it's just amazing the detail in there. And I just thought they were like a piece of art. So I wanted to have them in my collection, and now I do have them in my collection. So this is a Raoul reconnaissance drone, and it was shot down, and Amanda Tapping has it on a workbench, and she's working on it. And it's got all the pieces here. And again, we have a screenshot and she's working on it right there. So that's really cool. And that's a lot of people think that's a pretty cool piece that we have here because everybody's coming by going, oh my God, that's the exact piece. And Amanda Tapping, like everybody likes Amanda Tapping, and everybody's going, she touched this. So we've had a lot of people come up and if they've actually touched this because they think Amanda has touched this. So that's a pretty cool piece. So this part of the collection are all the hats from Emancipation. And we really like this because the three main characters, we have their hats. And this fur hat here, and this hat here, and this hat here, and this hat here, they're worn by the main characters. Now this hat here was actually worn by Amanda Tapping. It's got her name in it. And we have a picture of her wearing it right there. And this hat here has really special meaning, and just lately too. About 4 or 5 years ago, we were at a convention, and Jorge Vargas was there, and he played a boo. And we had our Stargate there, and we met him, and he signed the back of the gate, and we had a little chat with him. And about 2 months later, we got this collection. And it's like, oh, I can't believe this. Just if we had this a couple of months ago, we could have had the hat with him. 2 weeks ago, Jorge Vargas was at a convention, and I brought the hat there with him, and he hadn't seen it in 25 years. So we surprised him. He was on stage, and as he was coming off stage, I walked up and I showed it to him, and he was like, oh my goodness, I haven't seen this in 25 years. So we have pictures of him holding the hat in front of the Stargate, and yet then he actually signed it for us. So that has a very special meaning for us. And it was nice to be able to reunite the two after 25 years. We have a small sample here of just some props that we have for sale. We know that fans like to take a piece of the Stargate show home, so what we tried to do is try to find small but very cool pieces, and we put them in frames so they can either take them home and just put them, or give them as a gift. Because one thing that we've had a lot of people, they get a small prop or something, they don't know what to do with it. So we have it all framed or displayed on stands, so it's nice that they can take it home. So we do have a lot of other props for sale. We do have Stargate online, and we have props from other movies. And if you go to EmpireMovieProps.com, you can see the props that we do have for sale. And then we do have a lot of other props in our private collection, so you can go on there and see that, and pictures of other conventions that we've been to and other displays that we have. And last but not least, this is our Stargate. This was our first big thing we decided to make, and we wanted something that the fans would love to stand in front of, because we want to give something back to all the fans. So this started off, it's gone through several stages. We didn't have the water effect, we didn't have the light up stuff, and every year we've been adding to it. We added the gold panels on either side, which are actually from the TV series. We've got the chevrons all lit up, and we've got a custom-made backdrop with the water effect on it. Now, on the TV show, the water effect was CCG, and we had to figure out some way of making it realistic. So I had a special light made to give the same water effect as on the show. And now the fans can stand in front of it and get their pictures taken. And what's really cool is when you do a video of this, the water's actually moving, so it actually looks like people are on the set and coming through. This took quite some time to make. From completion, it took over a year to make. And again, it's gone through different stages, which have taken a lot of time to do it, because we wanted to make it as realistic as possible in the detail. So I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I did the chevrons and I wasn't happy with the chevrons and did a little bit more on the chevrons, and I still wasn't happy with them, so the next show, do a little bit more. So every year it just gets a little bit more detailed and a little bit better. This is the first exclusive Stargate that we have done. I mean, we've had a gate at several other conventions, but not just specifically Stargate. And usually the conventions that we go at, we get asked by the promoters to have our Stargate there because they have actors from the show, because it's a very popular backdrop, and the actors love it too. They're able to get pictures with their fans in front of the gate. A couple of times I've been almost moved to tears with people coming in saying they absolutely love it. They appreciate the time we've taken to put this collection together, to show it to them, to give back to the fans. The one thing that's been really mind-blowing is when you have the actual actors have come through and they're going, wow, this is amazing. And I'm thinking these people have been on the real sets with the real Stargate, and they're saying this about our collection and about our display, and that means a lot to me. I have put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours into building this. I mean, it took us 2 years to get this whole display built and everything ready for this show. And there's a lot of hours because I have a full-time job. So all those hours put in were worth it to have that response back. And it's, again, I'm one of the biggest Stargate fans out there, and to be able to share this with other Stargate fans and for them to have the same feeling that I have for it, it's an absolute amazing experience. There have been times that when building this, I wanted to quit. I go to work, I've worked 14 hours at work because I've had to work overtime. I had a time frame to get this done. And it's like I put another 10 hours in, I get 3 or 4 hours sleep, I'm back at work, and there were times that I was just like, oh my God, I'm not going to get this done. I just want to phone up and say we can't make it because I'm not going to have this done. Things weren't working out. Because a lot of this stuff, I've never gone to a course, I've never taken a class. I have to figure out how to make a pillar, how to make a Stargate, how do we do the backdrop, how do we do this, and there's nobody here to teach me that. I'm having to learn myself. A lot of it's trial and error. So it's very frustrating. And I mean, to have it complete and be standing in this, because when I initially had this, it was just a drawing. I just had this drawing layout, and this is what it was going to look like. And to be actually standing in this, and I was looking, it's funny, I was looking at the drawing the other day. My brother's here, I was showing my brother, and I said, this is the drawing that I had before we even did anything, and it looks the same as the drawing. So it was a really cool experience to go, this was in my head, and now really I'm standing in my head because this is the exact image that was in my head. So that, again, all the frustration and everything, it was worth it. And one thing with the frustration, I have to say, my wife, she has been a rock through this. She has been supportive. She has helped me out when I've run into those roadblocks. She's been there going, look, we can figure this out. You're going to do this. So I'm getting a little emotional here right now. She has been a huge support, a huge fan. And if it wasn't for her, this would not be here. The hardest thing with the Stargate to get right were honestly the chevrons. The chevrons went through several different stages. And when I was initially doing it, again, everything's on a time frame. And when I built it, the chevrons were not the right shape. And I had to do a show, and so I had to get the chevrons done. And so it was, I had it done, and we had it at the show, and everybody's going, wow, this is amazing. I'm standing back, and I'm going, this looks like crap. And my wife is going, everybody loves this. I said, well, the chevrons just aren't quite right with the shape. She goes, nobody noticed that. The only person noticing it is you. But I ended up correcting that. So, but it was the chevrons. And the other thing that was hard was the initial design to start off. It's like, how do you build a Stargate? There's no plans to build a Stargate. There's no, I didn't know anybody who had built it or taken anything like this. So that was the other thing, just the initial thing to get it all organized. How do you build this? What works, what doesn't work? And a lot of it was trial and error again. This collection is just only going to get bigger and better. when we do, like, hopefully this is GATECON 2023, hopefully we're back here doing it. We want to make it different for the fans. It may look similar to this, but we want to have different props here. We want to add stuff to it.
What do you think of this?
It's amazing.
Isn't this cool?
So how much of this stuff is every single last thing here from you?
Yes, this is my private collection, and everything here was used.
Right.
The screen used.
So these columns,
I made those.
this backdrop.
I had like custom design.
So you
These
have
pillars
a
are real,
portable showroom.
Yeah.
That you,
Yeah.
So you have to pack this all up and then
Yeah.
redeploy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
And you made the
I made the
whole
Stargate.
gate. Isn't that
And
crazy?
you scaled it. What scale is this?
It was, my house was, I built this in my house actually when I first started because I didn't have a
So it's just
workshop.
whatever fit in your
So
house?
yeah, so I built the ceilings and they're about, so I fit as,
Math on it?
no, I built it as high as I could with my ceiling.
That's really funny.
So for traveling, this comes apart in pieces.
Yes, yeah, the chevrons come off and then it comes apart in 6 pieces and the base is in 3 pieces
And
and the pillars.
how do you transport it?
We get the largest U-Haul moving truck and we pack it all up and put it in.
Are you local?
We're in West Kelowna.
You've come all the way from West Kelowna?
Yeah.
So is this in storage when it's not being shown?
Yes, it used to be in my house where I moved, and my ceilings are smaller now, so I can't have that. But several of the key pieces are actually in.
You can also bring it to parties and weddings
Yeah.
and stuff.
Can I touch it?
Yeah, it's made out of styrofoam.
So it breaks a lot.
We're very careful with it. I've had to do a few repairs over the years because this is almost 10 years old
Yeah.
since we made it.
Right. So this weird projection screen, where did you get this element?
I had a company custom make it, so it had the water effect like that.
The coruscation.
So as close to the gate as like the TV show as possible.
Yeah.
And then I had the backdrop thing because the backdrop is darker on the outside,
this
lighter
is-
in the middle.
It's intense, right?
Partway through the show, we would always have to avoid the Stargate because every time you saw the puddle, the event horizon, the puddle, you'd have to visifact it in, which cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
So Jim Menard said, why don't we use a rear projection screen, not unlike what you have here, and get a really powerful projector and project that, and so that we can at least keep the presence of that alive and not
Yeah.
incur any extra extra money.
Yeah.
And well, the visual effects department was highly skeptical, and they said, well, if you do that, we're going to have to match it to what you have. And so there was a couple of hoops to jump through, but when they finally did it, we were able to put it on as a practical puddle, and it opened it up because we weren't always just framing just around it, right, and not incurring getting dinged for the visual effects money. So here you've created a practical rear projection. Ours was incredibly powerful, right, because it couldn't fade and you couldn't have any shadow. That was the other thing. There could be no shadow, so you had to hit it from the front without creating a shadow to make sure that nobody said, "Oh, that's a screen." But then the light coming from here couldn't overpower the projection from behind. So it was a huge balance. And then is this original?
That's from Stargate Origins, the original Horus.
Okay. And then what about that one?
That's the original Raw from Stargate Origins.
from Stargate Origins.
Yeah, the movie series.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this looks kind of like the one we had access to, and because it was so hard to move around, if we ever had the head on, they'd always have to be a stuntman because that was considered a stunt. Moving around in a way that was you couldn't really see very well. I remember in the original movie, this was animated.
Yeah.
It would turn. When we would do the visual effect, the idea was that you had to step through the event horizon, never on the event horizon, because if I'll use this line as an example, if you stepped on where the puddle was going to be, then just your toe would be poking out. So the actors who were coming through the puddle always had to step over the event horizon. So invariably, every time you see somebody coming out of the puddle, they're always doing that and never stepping with just their toe poking out, right? Because how would that make sense, right?
The mass of the objects had to completely go through
Yeah.
first, and that was
Yeah.
the theory behind it.
And
because
it just
a
would've
toe
looked-
just wouldn't appear first.
And it would look silly
Yeah.
if you tried to make that work. Right? And when we shot long caravans of people, David, you'll appreciate this too. When we shot long caravans of people coming out, the people behind the other people would screw up the green screen because there was green screen back there getting a silhouette. So if you put one person in front of another person, it would contaminate their silhouette, right? So we had to do as much as possible. We had to do side by side. So people would come in, you would hide around the corner so you wouldn't contaminate the silhouette, and then you, at the last possible second, you would come in and then go through. Yeah. When we were on location, we had a scaled down version that we put on the hill.
It was about this tall.
Yeah. And we would do forced perspective, and it would look like it was a regular size, but if there was nothing close to it, there was nothing to give the scale away. So we had a much smaller version, and then we would just put it on the sand dune over there, and we'd say, "We've come from all the way over there," and it wasn't.
That's cool.
So about a year ago, David was generous to do an interview with us, and it was over Skype, and he was asking about the collection, and he was asking about the Stargate, and he was asking how big the Stargate was. Now, I was so nervous that I was actually doing this, because I mean, I love Dial the Gate, and I was so nervous that, oh my God, I'm here with David Reed talking about my collection. And David said, so how big is the Stargate? And he was actually talking about how high the Stargate was. Now, I thought he was talking about how big, like how wide the Stargate was. So I was saying, well, the Stargate's about 18 feet roughly, and David's looking at me with this really strange look, and he's going, how big is it? I said, well, it's about 18 feet. And he says, are you sure? And I'm looking at him on the screen going like, it's 18 feet wide, what's he talking about? But after it was done, I'm sitting there, and we did the interview, and then David says, okay, it's going to be on the web, you can watch it. So I'm sitting there watching with my wife, and I was going, I'm watching, and then David's got a picture of the Stargate on, and he's actually kind of on the screen, on his end is showing how high it is with his fingers. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel so stupid. He's talking about how high it is. I was interpreting it as how wide it was, and that's why he had that strange look on his face, is he's going like, really, that's 18 feet? Like, I don't think so. So it's like, oh my goodness, that's embarrassing. So I just thought it was a funny story that, how miscommunication can happen.